Oh, say, can you see? Just get ready for next season, mate. Half-time shows and all that. Can't wait. Oh, it's growing arms and legs. I love all this. I love all these rumours, man. I absolutely love it, even if it's a lot of pish.
The thing is, though, is people are going, "Oh, it's the 49ers is the 49ers." It's only the...
And the stadium erupts in red, white and blue. You've never seen anything like it.
Let's go.
Manchester, brace yourself. Rangers are coming!
Hi everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the I Ready podcast. As ever, I'm your host Derek, and with me is my co-host Dave. How you doing, Dave?
You nearly forgot your name there, didn't you?
No, I was thinking about what next to say.
I thought you were going to say something else there. No, Derek, considering the two games that I'm about to cover, I'm actually surprisingly all right this week. It's given me a bit of time to sort of calm down from the game, not that weekend, but the weekend before, just to sort of calm down a wee bit. How's yourself?
Well, apart from having to go over the couple of games we've got to cover, I'm actually quite happy tonight for various reasons. Not the least, Dave, I had a dinner that I've not had in ages. Scampi and chips.
Scampi and chips? That's quite posh.
That's no posh.
I'm sure that's Simon Cowell's favourite pub lunch. There you go.
Every time I go out to a pub for a lunch, I don't normally have scampi. It's because you can buy it anyway. So I normally have Hunter's chicken when I go out. So I just thought a wee change tonight. I was on my own because the wife wasn't wanting dinner. So I thought, let's read the freezer, scampi and chips. There you go.
Fantastic, mate. Well, I didn't have anything spectacular. It was like chicken Kiev that I had for my dinner, but it was still very nice.
Or it's actually chicken Kiev.
Kiev, that's correct. I forgot
Yes.
about that. Yep.
Yes.
Chicken Kiev. So.
But anyway, enough of these culinary delights. We will need to go into the games. Unfortunately, we'll go down the tunnel and onto the park. So, Dave, the first game we've got to cover, Sunday the 9th of February. It was a 1-0 loss at home against Queen's Park in the 5th round of the Scottish Cup. I don't want to cover this, Dave, so thankfully I'm passing it over to you.
Oh, my goodness. Yep, we've been talking about it for well over a week now. It's been classed as the worst result in the club's history. There's been a few worst results in the club's history over the past a few years that I could go over, but this is certainly up there with that because it was a game that we thought was going to be a surefire voyage to the next round of the Scottish Cup, and it turned out to be a complete disaster. I'll get into the team that Philip Clement put out. He did make 5 changes. Kelly was in goals, Tavernier, Fernandez, Proper and Jeffrey. Midfield, Diomande, Rice and Barame, and then up top, Hadji, Cherny and Igman. So still a very, very strong team there. A team that we would expect to win the vast majority of Premier League games, let's be honest. On the subs bench, Butland, Ridvan, Suter, Dessers, Lawrence, Raskin, McCausland and Curtis. So like I said, 5 changes. Kelly in for Butland, Proper in for Suter, Fernandez's first full start, Bailey Rice in from the start and Barame back in the first 11. It was one of the oldest fixtures, not only in Scottish football, but world football dating back to the 1800s, these two met. So the game started off, early opportunity for Rangers in the 4th minute, good pressing down the wing. The fullback then passes the ball back to the Queen's keeper. He passes the ball out of defence straight to Diomande. He's got the goal gaping. He's at the edge of the box. He needs to get it on target. He doesn't. He fluffs it, hits it past the post. That was the perfect time for him to get shot on target. Really, really poor there by Diomande because he wasn't under much pressure at all. He got the shot away. So disappointed with that. 2 minutes later, Hadji with a shot from outside the box, just inches over the bar. Unlucky there. 12 minutes. Good play by Hadji again in the left wing. Low cross into the 6-yard box. Diomande with a quick snapshot, but straight at the goalkeeper and then cleared. So Diomande getting his chances. 17th minute, good play down the right wing. Barame, great footwork into Cherny, into the box, tight angle. He nutmegs the defender, shoots. A good save by the goalkeeper, one of many. Still 0-0. 21-minute, Czerny again in the heart of the action, down the right wing, good cross to the back post. Barami with the header straight at the goalkeeper, makes a straightforward save. Really poor by Barami, needs to get that. I mean, that should have been a goal as well. Really poor. But then it just fizzled out, completely fizzled out for about another 15 minutes. 35th minute, a slack pass by the Queen's full-back straight to Igman. The ball kind of gets caught up in his feet. He lays it off to Diomande again. He's on the right. He shoots really, really weak. A sclaff straight at the goalkeeper again. Diomande easily could have been on a hat-trick by this point. He was really poor in this game. He really, really was. 40th minute, Diomande, he makes a run into the box. He shoots. It takes a deflection. Good save by the goalkeeper. Tips it over, out for a corner. A minute later, from that corner, it's played to Barami at the edge of the box. He shoots low. Diomande sticks his foot out right in front of goal, hits it past the post. So again, I don't know, it just wasn't happening for Diomande at all. And that's basically how the half-time whistle blew. 0-0, plenty of chances. We had all the pressure, but the final ball was just poor. And the shooting opportunities, nobody had their shooting boots on whatsoever. 0-0. But at that stage, Derek, we were looking comfortable and we thought there's bound to be goals into the second half because Queens had done nothing in the first half to suggest that they were going to be any threat whatsoever. But into the second half is where it all went wrong. Early chance, though, for Rangers in and around the box. Czerny to Igman. He hits a rocket, a shot, but it's just over the bar. But then for the next 10 minutes, Rangers just really lacklustre, doing nothing. And Queens starting to gain confidence. They're spraying the ball about at the back. They created a half chance with a good ball, which was fizzed across the face of the goal, just inches past their striker, who had made a late run into the box. And that should have been a wee sort of kick up the arse that we were needing, but nothing. And all I've got here for the next sort of 5 minutes, really lacklustre from Rangers. Passes going astray, no one running, just really, really poor. But then, 70th minute, absolute embarrassment from Rangers as Queens take the lead. And it's a corner from the left-hand side. It's headed to the back post. And the Queens player just skins Jeffrey. Derek, we spoke about Jeffrey before when it comes to his marking, especially at set pieces. The defender, he was left for dead. The defender completely skinned him. Shoots low through the legs of Kelly, and it's 1-0 to Queens. So Jeffrey, I don't know if he kind of sidestepped him, he lost his balance, but it was just really shocking defending. Really poor goalkeeping, I think, as well. Right under Kelly, through his legs, into the back of the net. The initial header to Jeffrey and the goalkeeper, absolutely dreadful. And Rangers were doing absolutely nothing in the second half up to there. Just a complete calamity. And lacklustre, that's all I can say about the goal.
You've summed up most of the game there, and it's something that we've seen all season. Lacklustre, powder puff up front, giving silly balls away in needless positions, allowing them to get up the park and letting the easy goal. It should be shocking to us, but I wasn't actually shocked because we've seen it all before.
Totally. And then for there, we seemed to up our tempo a bit. We started moving the ball about much faster, but still not really doing anything because it wasn't until the 83rd minute that we had a shot by Igman from distance, which was saved by the goalkeeper. Lawrence comes on and Dio comes off. I think the Dio should have been off at half-time. He took Bailey Rice off at half-time. 61st minute, he takes Fernandez and Hadji off and brings on Suter and Rudvan. So he takes Hadji off, who him and Czerny had been about our only creative players in the whole game, especially Hadji, and he takes him off and brings Rudvan on, which we were all scratching our head at. And then, as I say, 10 minutes after that, Queens scored. Lawrence, as I say, comes on, Dio goes off. There's a cross into the box with a minute to go. A great shot by Robin Proper. It's blocked on the goal line by the defender and cleared. Really unlucky there. 1 minute, great through ball to Igman. He finds Dessers. He rounds the keeper. A fantastic save with the goalkeeper. Puts it out for a corner. 3 minutes into injury time, there's a quick free kick taken. Czerny into the box. He shoots. Another great save by the goalkeeper. And 5 minutes into injury time, the ball's played into the box. Czerny's fouled. Derek, it was a soft one, I've got to say, but the referee pointed to the spot and we thought, we're going to get out of jail here. It was a penalty to Rangers. What did you make of the initial tackle or the initial foul?
I thought it was Dessers that was fouled, to be honest, but...
Yeah, I've got Czerny, but you were possibly right. It was maybe Dessers there.
It was soft, put it that way. I would be unhappy if we had got it against us. It was soft, but as you'll get into, it was academic anyway.
So a minute later, Tav steps up. It's a decent enough penalty with power to the right, but a great level for the goalkeeper to guess which side it was going to. The goalkeeper pulls off a good save, and it remained 1-0 to Queens, and that is how the game ended up. Like I said, I usually go back and watch games. I was so disappointed with this one, Derek. I've not watched the replay since. I've only got the notes that I took as I was watching it live. And like I said, it's as far as results go, it's one of the worst that we've seen in years. People are muting it as being the worst result in our history. And all I've got here is surely the manager can't remain in place. And Ibrox was just a noisy people booing. But here we are a week and a bit later, and the manager's still there. And as I'm about to get into the next game, much better result, but no really much better performance.
No, I mean, we'll get into the fallout from the game afterwards, but the game itself, I mean, you've got to, I suppose, praise Queen's Park for the way they defended, because they were resolute. They just stood up to us, and that's all you need to do these days. They were organised. People saying that Queen's Park deserved the win, but I don't think that's true, because they had one shot and they scored with it, ultimately. We were by far the better team, if you want to say that, but we again done nothing with it. And as I said before, it's just absolutely powder puff, absolute nonsense. The decision to bring off Hadji and bring on Ridvan, he was questioned about that in the presser afterwards, and he just waffled absolute nonsense regarding it. You know, you're taking off an attacking player to play a defensive player. Makes no, when you're looking for a goal, makes no sense whatsoever. Just unbelievable. Now, clearly the knives were out for Clement after that, and rightly so. He was met with abuse outside the stadium as he left. Some of it, granted, was a wee bit OTT. On a human level, I do actually feel a bit sorry for him, given the shite that he's had to put up with from the board. It feels kind of a bit like the Murray era, where he was clearly out of his depth and the board were just refusing to put him out of his misery. But on a footballing point of view, it's simply unacceptable. On the field of play, we're playing one system that clearly doesn't work. We don't have the players for it for a start, the way he's trying to play. We're playing players out of position to make it fit. The lack of subs when it's clearly not going well. Strange subs like the Ridvan for Hadji one. Other times he can make subs that are game changers. He's so bipolar that way. His pressers afterwards, saying about how much possession we have and how much shots we have. I mean, it may fly for some clubs, but you're not going to get away with that here, especially not after you lose against Queen's Park like that. He started out with so much promise, with a defined way of playing. Now, we've covered that multiple times before, so I'm not going to get into that. But why has it gone so wrong? What didn't help, though, in this situation was the complete radio silence from the club until the next presser for the next game came along. The club have had a habit of doing that, especially this season when things are not going well. They hide away. It's not a good look, and I hate to say this, it seems to be an early failure for the new CEO. You get one chance to make a first impression. Now, like on every subject around the club, they may have been beavering away in the background, but we've seen nothing of that, so it gives the impression that fuck all's been done. Now, unbelievably today, Patrick Stewart came out and gave an in-house pre-recorded interview and explained why he didn't come out after the Queen's Park game, stating that he can't come out after every single game and say stuff to the media or say stuff to the fans. He says that discussions like after every game were had with Clement. He was asked why is Clement still in a job. He reiterated that there were clearly issues out with the manager, so we can't repeat the same mistakes of sacking managers as we have done before. Now, that point I've said before, I kind of agree with. If there's problems in the background that are making the management and the players be like this, you need to sort that first before you sack the manager. He then went on to basically say, now I'm paraphrasing here, that he done well in Europe, so he has to be given the time to see the European fixtures out. So I wish somebody had then said to him, well, does that mean, is he going to get sacked as soon as we're out of Europe then if things don't improve? Now, as I said, I agree with dealing with the issues out with the manager that may be making him fail, but some results transcend that. Combine that with the way we've been playing football-wise for the past season, Clement is clearly not the man to take us forward, is he?
What was getting me, Derek, and like you, up until we went so far behind Celtic and that cup result there, me and you had kind of said, oh, well, there's not going to be any change. We'll have to put up with it. He's going to be here until the end of the season, and hopefully things will pick up. But after that result there, that is the type of result that a manager shouldn't survive. It was absolutely embarrassing. And what I, again, like you agreed with, was people saying you can't keep sacking the manager, you can't keep sacking the manager. I've actually been watching a wee bit of English football, believe it or not, Derek, and you know I'm not a fan of English football, but I was watching just to see the fortunes of Everton. Now, Everton under Sean Dyche were absolutely woeful. They couldn't beat anybody. They were languishing near the bottom of the league. Really, really poor. And they decided to get rid of him, and they brought in Davy Moyes. And ever since they brought in Davy Moyes, I think they've won 4 out of 5 games. They look a completely different team. And it all comes down to, if you're a good manager, you can make the players that you have at your disposal work to get results. Philip Clement can't do that, Derek. He's got his system, which we're still a bit baffled as to what his system is. And he tries to shoehorn players into his system rather than using the players that he's got to their best abilities, their best positions, and changing the formation and changing the way the team goes so that these players flourish and make the team play better. He can't do that. So in one way, you keep saying that you can't keep changing managers, but if you can get a manager that can get a tune out of the players that he's got at his disposal, then that's what you've got to do, and that's what makes a good manager. And that would be my argument to that things just don't seem to be working. So why keep a guy there when you know that things aren't working out, regardless if you keep saying you can't sack a manager?
I mean, the parallels with Man U and Rangers are actually frightening. Both of us are going through similar issues at the exact same time. There's Davy Moyes. He's clearly a good manager. He'd done well with Everton the first time. He went on to Man U and failed. And then he's went on to West Ham and won a European trophy with them. And now he's back at Everton and it seems to be going well again. We're going through a similar situation with Man U where we keep chopping and changing managers time after time, changing players time after time, and we still can't get a tune out of them. It's a weird situation. To finish off the Patrick Stewart interview, that he did go on to say that the Footballing Review has identified, though, that we need a sporting director. So this is something that we did have one. We never replaced one when they left. We used Coppin to fill that role, or so we thought anyway. And now we've got an external company in to tell us we need one again. Is this external review a bit of a red herring if it's telling us things that we should have already had in place anyway?
When I was listening to him, it was more the sort of football side of things. He said that obviously there was an external review, but it was more the footballing side of things that I was sort of more interested in than what he was saying there. And he was saying, but basically that the external review should sort of patter out as the season comes to an end. But it's just strange, as you say, that we did have someone in place, then we don't, and now all of a sudden, they're identifying that we do need that in there. Well, it's like something that we all knew, and they all knew also, but it seems to just be coming to light now because they've got this review. Some of the things that he was saying on it, I was quite confused by, to be honest with you, and that was one of them.
I think this has been one of the big issues with the sporting director, the footballing director. They've had so many different names. Different people have chopped and changed their titles. You've had Mark Allen in there. You've had Ross Wilson. You've had, obviously, now Coppin. You're going to then get someone else to come in. Nobody actually, I don't think, knows, because he did disclose what the differences in the sporting director and the footballing director role is. And this is where the club need to be a wee bit clearer on who does what and what is the responsibilities. And I think we've tried to implement something before and we've either got it wrong or we've half-arsed it and nobody knows what's happening. So the likes of Ross Wilson was getting the blame for, and probably quite rightly, for bringing the players in which would end up being duds. And then really, was it all down to him? Was it down to the manager as well? Because we were told that the manager has an input. So this is where the club need to be extremely careful and be extremely clear about who does what within the club. For all we know, Ross Wilson brought in all the good players, or he might have brought in all the duds, and vice versa, if you know what I mean, and the wrong people are getting the blame. We don't know if that was the catalyst for Ross Wilson moving on because he was wrongly getting the blame. So I don't think that. I think Ross Wilson has been a bit of a dud, to be honest. But again, this is the type of thing we don't know because we've had so many name changes and of job titles and stuff. So we'll see how that pans out. Now, obviously, after the Queen's game, there was pictures and videos of showing the players celebrating in our away dressing room, as they should. They won a major game. You know, you can't take that away from them. However, if fan reaction and hopefully a manager bollocking wasn't enough to spur the team and the management on to get a reaction, then those pictures should have been. We shouldn't be allowing teams to celebrate in our stadium like that. So you would have thought we would have got a performance from that. But the next game, we got a result, but it was an absolute shocking performance. It was on Sunday, the 16th of February, a 3-1 win away against Hearts in the Premiership.
3-1. Anybody looking at that scoreline would think that it was a dominant performance by Rangers, but it certainly wasn't. It's one of the most bizarre games of football that I've seen in a long time. You know, in a way, we should all be absolutely delighted that we've went away from home, considering how bad our away form's been this season, and absolutely annihilated Hearts by that scoreline. But as I'm about to get into it, just wasn't like that whatsoever. The team that he put out for this game, Butland, Tavernier, Suter, Inciala, Jeffrey, Raskin, Diomande, Lawrence, which I find very strange in the starting 11, Cherny, Hadji and Igman. On the subs bench, Kelly, Ridvan, Proper, Dessers, Barami, Fernandez, Rice, King and Curtis. Now, going back, Derek, just very quickly to the Lawrence pick in the team, has it not already been said, or maybe it was just rumours, but has Lawrence not one of the players who's been told that he needs to find himself a new club for next season, or is that just speculation that I've seen? Because I seem to have seen it quite a lot, and I was thoroughly under the impression that was the case, and you know that we probably wouldn't see him back in a Rangers shirt, or am I just getting the complete wrong end of the stick here?
No, I'm pretty sure that's accurate. So yeah, an absolute baffling decision. It's not as if we're putting him in the shop window to try and sell him because he's out of contract and there's no more transfer windows before he's out of contract. Absolutely
bizarre, considering he spent a lot of money bringing Barami in. He had Rice also on the bench, who again didn't think played particularly badly against Queen's Park, and he seems to have been one of his fall guys again in the presser, which was strange. But anyway, like I've said there, first start for Lawrence in several months. He was injured again for Rangers and out for a while, so surprised to see him back into the team. Second minute, Rangers did start very, very quickly, and we had the ball in the back of the net. And it was a very well-worked corner from the left-hand side. It was played to the edge of the box and dinked into the back post. And Big John Suter ghosting in there and firing a fantastic shot past Craig Gordon. But as soon as it hit, we thought he was going to be offside. VAR obviously came in and checked it. And what it first looked to be, he was well offside, was actually a lot more close than what I think we all thought at the time. But was offside, and quite rightly it was ruled out. But then after that, it was basically all Hearts. Let's be honest, for the next sort of 20 minutes, there was a scare in about the 15th minute for Rangers. Hadji takes a heavy touch in his own half. It breaks to the Hearts player. It ends up getting played up to, I think it was Kabanga, the new Hearts striker. He hits a shot. It's well saved by Butland. Really good save and cleared. So Hadji was booked for the late challenge, trying to get the ball back after that sort of heavy touch there. So that was a close call. But then out of the blue, there's a goal for Rangers on the 20th minute, and it's good play by Cherny. He spots Hadji making a run on the left wing, gets the ball to the byline, and Hadji putting a great ball right across the face of the goal with a lot of power. Craig Gordon, he sort of comes out, pulls off a really good save, but as he saves it, it hits off the defender, Jamie McCart, and it bundles into the back of the net, 1-0 to Rangers. We'll take that fortune, Derek, any day of the week, but it was good play initially by Cherny to Hadji, and Hadji putting a really dangerous ball in, and that, You know, as you've said all the time, if we don't create these chances, anything can happen. And it just as it did there, the ball ended up in the back of the net, 1-0 Rangers.
I'll take it every which way it comes. I've always said that. Yeah, bit of fortune. Good play initially. Hadji, was it a bit of a hit and hope cross? I don't know. It was a dangerous one into a good area, but there was nobody there. But as I said, I'll take it every which way it comes.
Yep. Yeah, but only a minute after that, again, Rangers switching off. Hearts almost equalise. A through ball through their striker Cabango at the edge of the box. He hits a low shot, fantastic save by Jack Butland and cleared. 2 minutes later, Jack Butland, though, with the kick, he misjudges it and kicks it straight to the Hearts attacker. I think it was possibly Shankland. He plays in Cabango. He hits a shot which is heading right into the bottom corner. Butland redeems himself, pulls off a tremendous diving save, fingertips, and the ball just creeps past the post. But really living dangerously there, and to be fair to Butland, immediately apologises to his defenders. 30 minutes, although we were 1-0 up, we haven't had a single shot on target, Derek, which is a quite incredible start to be winning 1-0 and not having a single shot, but it really was that poor. Our final ball, our attacking play was just non-existent, and you know, thankfully at that point it was still 1-0 to Rangers, but really poor. 32nd minute, Shankland with a rocket for the edge of the box. Good save by Butland over the bar. And then the 37th minute, Rangers with our first shot on target, but it's a weak effort by Raskin straight at Gordon. 2 minutes later, though, a good break. Diomande to Eggman, then to Cherny inside the box. The ball's quite close to his feet, but he manages to get a good shot straight at Gordon and a good save by him. But when Diomande was breaking, he had loads of space to go himself. I don't know if his confidence has gone. I kept talking about him in the Queen's Park game, Derek, so I don't know if he's maybe just thought to himself, I'm not even going to attempt this and just pass it on. But he had the chance to go himself. 43rd minute, Raskin with a great shot. It was heading right into the top corner. Good save by Gordon out for the corner. From that corner, it's whipped into the near post. Eggman with the header comes off the Hearts defender. Nearly another own goal, point blank. Gordon makes the save. So that was nearly 2-0 from another own goal, but it was cleared. So it was at half time. 1-0 to Rangers, really living dangerously. Hearts having the bulk of the chances, not having a shot on target to the 37th minute is just not good enough, but we would take the 1-0 all day long at that stage. But Hearts didn't have to wait long into the second half. They got their equaliser. It was a corner right into the heart of the box, 6-yard box. The Hearts defender, totally unmarked, gets the header away, past Butland into the back of the net. Just absolutely woeful defending there and marking, Derek.
We've seen it all before. Again, I can't say much else about that. Set piece, once again, free header into the bottom corner. Seen it all before.
Yep. Hearts nearly got their second in the 54th minute. Rangers living dangerously. Hadji out-muscled by Shankland on the wing, puts the ball into Cabango at the back post. He lays it off. There's a shot. It's charged down by the Rangers defence and cleared. It's all Hearts. 57th minute, though, Hadji on the left wing into Diomande at the edge of the box. He tries to shoot, doesn't connect with the ball, and it just ends up straight in, safely into the arms of Craig Gordon. Great chance on the 60th minute for Cherny, and this was Rangers sort of starting to come back into the game at this stage. Low cross by Eggman. It's cleared straight to Cherny. He's just inside the box. All he's got to do is get it on target. The goal again is gaping. He's got Gordon to the left-hand side of the box, and he's got just a huge space on the right-hand side, and he tries to curl it. You could see what he's trying to do, but he misjudges it, curls it past the post. That was a great chance, but we only had a minute to wait when we got the second goal, and it was Lawrence on the right wing. Ball to Eggman. He goes to get his shot away. It sort of ricochets off the Hearts defender, falls straight into the feet of Cherny, right in front of goal, and he blasts it past Craig Gordon to make it 2-1 to Rangers. Again, Derek, fortune there with how it landed at Cherny's feet, but I really don't care. You need to be in the right place at the right time to get the goal, and Cherny making it 2-1 to Rangers.
A lot of criticism was levelled at Cherny for this game in particular because he was really quiet, he never done much, then he pops up and scored that goal. I tend to think that these players are not bad. I just think that they go through periods of quiet spells when the team are playing particularly bad. And I think Czerny is quite like that. You can rely on him sometimes for popping up out the blue like this game, but he generally, like I would say a majority team, play better when the team are playing better.
After that, it's a free kick, 67th minute. Tavernier steps up. It's right on the edge of the box, but he fires it straight at Gordon, so it's still 2-1 to Rangers. Another great save, though, by Butland on the 70th minute is Kabangu. He's played through 1-1. He hits a good shot. Great save by Butland, cleared by Rangers. And then the sub that I feel should have been made at half-time, because I thought Lawrence was pretty non-existent in this game, and it is his first game back. Like I said, he comes off, Dessers comes on. That's who I possibly felt she should have started the game with, Eggman playing just behind him. And just as soon as Dessers comes on, I actually thought, Derek, that it was his first touch of the ball, but Rangers scored, but it wasn't Dessers, although he was involved in the play. Hadji, he gets the ball just inside the Hearts half. He can see Dessers making the run right up the middle. He's got the Hearts defender, McCart, right at his side. The ball's flicked through. It was a great ball, I've got to say, by Hadji, right in front of him, through and into the box. Dessers goes, McCart goes, but McCart gets the last touch and dinks it past his own goalkeeper to score Rangers' third and his second own goal of the game to make it 3-1 to Rangers. Quite incredible.
The irony is that a Hearts player has been more deadly in front of their goal than our strikers have been in this game.
Exactly, yep. So, 77th minute, John Suter comes off, Proper goes on. 78th minute, Dessers, I thought he'd put Rangers 4-1 up. He was race clear. It was a great through ball by him into the box and slides the ball perfectly under Gordon into the back of the net. But again, he was a good couple of feet offside. If only they'd just held his run. Again, we've said this about Dessers loads and loads of time. It was a really good finish. Unlucky there, but didn't stand in, and rightfully so, because he was offside. 81st minute, some really good individual skill by Eggman at the edge of the Hearts box. Brings the ball down, beats two players, into the box, shoots, but it's deflected wide. He didn't do enough of that in the game. I thought Eggman's been really quiet in the last few games. 85th minute, though, living dangerously. Corner by Hearts again, swung in. Rangers again don't clear it. It falls to Hearts player in the 6-yard box. It would have been easier to score. Scoops it past the post, thankfully. Still to keep it 3-1. 4 minutes of added time. Another chance for Hearts right at the end of the game. 3rd minute, as a Hearts player gets inside the box. The striker finds space, hits the shot, but thankfully straight at Butland. That's how the game finished, Derek. I'm maybe making it sound more exciting for Rangers than it actually was. It was actually really, really poor. There were huge spells of that game that we did absolutely nothing whatsoever. Hearts had the bulk of the possession, the bulk of the chances, and for us to escape there winning 3-1 was quite incredible. I'll take that any day. And in other circumstances, if we were fighting at the top of the table with Celtic, if there was only a few points in it, we would be absolutely delighted by that. But just the way that things have been going, the performance itself was just really, really poor. But the result was excellent.
Yeah, I mean, that's about all you can take out of that. I mean, a lot of folk are saying that it's only the result that matters, but sorry, not after the back of a horrendous result against Queen's Park. You need a reaction with this game.
A reaction, totally, yep.
We never got it. So Clermont lives to fight another day with that one. So the games we've got to come: Saturday the 22nd of February at home to St Mirren in the Premiership. That's a 1500 kickoff. Wednesday the 26th of February away to Kilmarnock in the Premiership. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff. Saturday the 1st of March at home to Motherwell in the Premiership. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff. Then we've got the double header Thursday the 6th of March in the Europa League last 16 leg 1. Thursday the 13th of March, the second leg of the Europa League. Sunday the 16th of March away against Celtic in the Premiership. That's a 12:30 kickoff. Still no update about the away tickets yet. Saturday the 29th of March rounds out the month of March as away against Dundee in the Premiership. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff. So we'll see if Clermont manages to scrape results or even survive these fixtures.
Yeah, I've got a feeling after we saw the interview today with Patrick Stewart, I've got a feeling, Derek, that he's going to be there regardless. That's just the feeling that I took from that.
Yep.
And I think a lot of other fans are feeling the same way.
Yep. So we'll now go into the news. Quite a few bits and pieces of news stories we've got to cover here. It'd be remiss of us not to start off with the sad one. A wish for Jimmy Calderwood, his funeral, Cortez to drive past Ibrox, was granted. So his funeral was yesterday. He was a lifelong Rangers fan, one of the good guys in Scottish football. He was the butt of a couple of great Only an Excuse sketches as well, but he was a well-respected character in the game, and a sad day for all.
Yeah, it was, and quite fitting as well, Derek, that he did want his funeral procession to walk past Ibrox as well. So very fitting for him. And as you say, he was a very big part of Scottish football. You know, Dunfermline manager, Aberdeen manager, had a lot of success with clubs. I mean, he had Dunfermline up at third in the league at one stage in the Premier League, which is quite incredible. So yeah, a sad day, and you know, we all knew it was it wasn't much a secret that he was a big Rangers man as well. So yep, and as usual, just condolences to all his family and friends out there.
Yep. Hugh Keevins said that he had it on good authority that Clement was on £40,000 per week, so round about £2 million a year. Of course, that's Hugh Keevins talking on Clyde's Super Scoreboard, much like the Daily Record, a platform that we're told to ignore, but not when it fits the narrative, it seems, of some people who take that as gospel. I'll admit a bit on this one. I did get into a couple of discussions with fans here. I did state that I've no idea if that figure's true, but I don't think it would be out with the realms of possibility for a manager who has won titles with more than one club. It then got into a debate about, well, he was a sacked manager, so he clearly wasn't worth it. I mean, here's the thing. Do people think that sacked managers don't get highly paid jobs in other teams and actually then go on to do well in them? Of course they do. To me, I think £2 million is the going rate for managers these days. People are saying it's too expensive because it hasn't worked out. They would be the exact same people who would be criticising it if we went for the cheap option and it didn't work out as well. So yeah. I think we're on a hiding to nothing with that one. However, like everything, another tabloid ended up saying that he's only getting about half the amount of that £40,000 a week. So much like the transfer fee debacle that we had, we'll never know the true amount, and arguably nor should we. It's private contracts at the end of the day, and as much as we may get a total player wage in our accounts, we'll rarely get individual breakdowns. In fact, we probably never will get individual player breakdowns. It's all speculation. You go into that transfermarket.com or whatever it's called, and it's all pure speculation, educated guesses as well. So take of that what you will, Dave.
Yeah, I know. As you say, one journalist will report this, another journalist will report that. We actually don't know, and we can speculate all we want, but we don't actually know exactly what it is. I was a bit like you, Derek. When I said 40,000 at first, I thought, my God, that's a lot of money. But if you think about it, for the size of the club that we are, for us trying to get an experienced manager that's been a manager in some big clubs in Europe, including Monaco, you can bet your bottom dollar he was on a hell of a lot more than 40 grand a week at Monaco.
Tax-free as well.
I know, so I could see that being correct. But again, we don't know. That might be a lot of nonsense, like we've said.
Next thing here now, Patrick Stewart releasing that video today has messed my order of things up here, but the Fans Advisory Board did meet before the Queen's Park game. The usual affair. Patrick Stewart was questioned then at the time about previous management, how the fact that they were let go because results did not meet expectations, and Clement's actually got a worse domestic record. You know, he did go on to say that, you know, it wasn't financially driven keeping them, and there was a recognition that there was lots of other footballing issues before the management that should be looked at, which we've covered obviously previous here. Patrick Stewart was asked about refereeing decisions and are we still talking to the SFA about that. He went on to state that we're still in dialogue with them and stated that the club will push for better standards of refereeing and greater consistency, not only for RFC but for all of Scottish football. Now, I wish someone at that meeting would have just said, look, Patrick, I know you need to caveat things by saying it's for all Scottish football, but all we care about is Rangers. Let the others fight their battles. You know, a simple thing like that could go a long way in showing the fans that the management, the board, get it. from the fans' point of view. As I said,
Yeah.
I know why they have to caveat that, because if they didn't publicly, it would be seen as, oh, we're just in it for himself, which we should be, but you need to caveat things. But if you turn round and say, we're letting other teams fight their battles, we're talking about Rangers, it will benefit Scottish football in the long run, but we're looking after ourselves first. Just come out and say that. That's all we're asking.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, the first of the strange things that came today was paperwork had been filed with Companies House regarding shares that had been issued. It was unclear what the story was here, because it was initially indicated it was for £1 per share instead of the usual 20p per share. Kieran Maguire did clarify it was for 20 pence per share. It's unclear if this is a new investor, an existing investor, or a conversion of loan to shares. Now, Heart and Hand in their daily update said it was more than likely a conversion of loan to shares, so that would round about be £3.6 million roughly. This is again the problem with the silence at the club. As much as I'm not sure how much they can go into things financially like this, the share issue is a public record, obviously, because it's on Companies House. People are specifically looking for these types of things, as you've seen with Kieran Maguire publishing it. So once it's out there and the club say nothing about it, people are going to fill a void, aren't they?
Yeah, people pick things up, Derek, and there's nothing official whatsoever. So that's when all the speculation comes out, and that's when the misinformation comes out as well. And as you say, we're just looking for a bit of clarity. And when things like that happen, and it is to do with the club, all we're looking for is to find out exactly what's what. And it takes, an outlet like Heart and Hand, as you say, to say, well, more than likely that's what it is, but we still don't know 100%. So it's, again, as you say, it's getting no information for the club, and we just have to speculate what's going on.
Yeah. So the next thing that broke just before we started recording tonight, a really strange one, that Keith Jackson of the Daily Record wrote an article saying that we were in advanced talks with an American consortium led by Leeds United chairman, I think this is how you pronounce his name, Parag Maranth, who is in charge of the San Francisco 49ers investment arm. So obviously American football, Dave, you know all about that. Now, the initial thing was it came from Claxon Jackson at the Daily Record. Like the previous story about Clement's wages, we're told not to believe the source like the Daily Record until people want to believe them. Now, Dave King had rubbished a very similar story late last year about American investors coming to look in, and ultimately they would need to look to buy his shares because he's the majority shareholder, I still believe. So Dave King is the go-to of the Daily Record. It's no secret, that one there. So it's been broke by the Daily Record. Everybody looking for Chris Jack to at least confirm it or rubbish it, which he normally does. And tonight, lo and behold, he's came out and more or less confirmed that there is truth to it. So, Dave, it's an evolving situation. Nobody knows what's actually happening. It's going to be a bit mad if this actually pulls off, because we could be in a very impressive financial position, but there's a lot of hurdles still to go. You've got to remember that this investment group have first got to buy shares, which would mean there's no initial investment in the club. If they're buying shares off existing shareholders, they would then need to backfill money into the club. Would they be able to do that properly? Americans are getting well involved in English football. Some of it's worked, some of it hasn't. Leeds, they're on the comeback. There's been an American investment in Scottish teams as well. Hearts or Hibs have got American investor. Dundee United as well. Aberdeen, yes. So we'll need to wait and see what happens. The fact that Chris Jack has not rubbished it is certainly something in it. I hope something is transpiring here, though, and I hope it's on the up and up, because we need something to at least bridge the gap between us and Celtic just now.
It's very strange. Like I said, Derek, it was you that sent me the initial story when it broke about an hour before we started recording. And like you, I thought it was just clickbait nonsense by the Daily Record, as always. But then, within about half an hour of it breaking, every other media outlet in Scotland was running with exactly the same story. And I thought there's possibly something in this as well. The more and more, there's just constant stories from more sources saying that there is something in this. Now, as you say, until we know the full ins and outs of it, we'll have to just wait and see what happens. But it's great that we can all dream, we can all hope, and we just have to, hope that there is something in this, and it is going to turn the fortunes of the club. But we're just going to have to wait and see. And Derek, until we get the full financial expertise of the mob for the East to Glasgow, I'm not believing anything.
No, definitely not. So, yeah, it's a strange one. It will evolve. It'll take a wee bit of time to sort out if it does come to fruition. So, we'll wait and see with this one. Next story here, in a truly bizarre action, Ali McCoist has been cleared by Ofcom when he was commentating on our Europa League game against Manchester United, when he described our fans as amazing, just when they were singing songs of a certain persuasion as well. Now, Ofcom stated that McCoist was commentating on the general atmosphere and the exact wording of the chants was not clearly discernible to viewers. 14 complaints all in, led by that wee rodent SNP MSP James Dornan. It's pathetic watching it and clearly listening out for that stuff. It's even worse making a complaint about it. And I can assure you, none of those same complainers made any complaint when the exact same thing is heard by Celtic fans at every single TV game that they're in. Nobody was complaining when a commentator said the exact same thing when they were calling Chris Boyd an orange bastard at the same time. So it's just so petty, Dave. I expect nothing else from that fan base. I really don't.
No, it just goes on and on. They certainly don't disappoint when it comes to things like that, Derek. It's never going to change. I've been hearing and listening to things like that for I don't know how long, and any opportunity that they will get to try and make some sort of complaint about the big bad Rangers and stuff. But for Ali McCoist, he was commentating, talking constantly, and all he could hear was noise in the background for the Rangers fans, very, very, very loud, and that's basically all he heard. Because if you actually go back to it, he's talking throughout the whole thing when the singing's taking place in the background. So it's pathetic. And the fact, as you say, the likes of Dornan is in there putting his head up again just to have a go at Rangers is just quite embarrassing, actually.
Yeah. And the last kind of the football thing I want to get onto here, and it was a discussion I had today with a fan online, is about European aspirations and winning the leagues. Now, I just wanted your take on this one here, because he said a couple of things that were a bit bizarre to me, and I'm coming from it. And I made this same point. I'm coming from growing up in the 90s when we were winning trophies galore domestically. However, Europe was an absolute embarrassment. We were shocking. We had a team, apart from obviously the 92 season, that's a given, but we were coming up against teams that we should have been easily beaten, and we were failing to do anything against them. Sometimes we never even qualified for Europe. Sometimes we were getting absolutely annihilated in Europe. Now, granted, we were coming up against what we didn't appreciate then, unbelievable Juventus and Ajax teams, but we were getting horsed against grasshoppers of Zurich and things like that. We should have had more than enough quality to beat them, but we never. So it seems to be over the last few years, obviously it's been a role reversal. Domestically, we've been crap apart from one season. In Europe, we've been fantastic. It's been some of the most exciting football and best football I've ever seen us play. And that goes from Walter Smith's 2 years to Advocat to all the managers in between. Some of the best football we've ever seen. So that in mind, Dave, this fan had said that 99% of the fan base couldn't care less about Europe if we're not winning domestic titles. And he then put the question, what result have we got in Europe this season that we weren't expected to? So I've put top 8. He's then went on to the fact saying that, can we put that where the league trophy is? A bit of a flippant remark there. But given the fact that the way our team has been of late, given the fact that the squad we've got, and given the teams we came up against, nobody had an expectation to finish top 8. We were expecting playoffs, and maybe even that was maybe going to be a stretch this season. So it got into the discussion about, obviously, me growing up in the 90s. He grew up later than that, so he's never known that type of sustained success. Obviously, with the exception of maybe the Walter 3 years when he came back. And his expectations were, no, the league, we need to win every single year. Europe's just a distraction. We should be in it for the money alone. Now, Dave, my view is, and it's a long-winded way of saying this, is the league will always be there. There's going to be us or Celtic fighting for the league every year. Of course, we want to win domestically. That's our bread and butter. but the league will be there. If we don't win it one year, the league will be there to fight for the following season. I want to win a European competition, and we've become a ball year away from it twice now in my lifetime, something I never thought I'd see. I want to be successful in Europe as much as we can, as well as being domestically successful. And both of them shouldn't be mutually exclusive. We should want both of them at the same time. So his point of view is he was wanting to clearly go for the league every season and give up Europe. I'm the opposite way about. Dave, you've seen both sides. You've even been part of a time before Walter Smith's season when we were unsuccessful as well. I've seen quite a few comments like his. Is it a generational thing where it's the younger fans maybe being deprived of domestic success thinking that way?
100%. 100%, Derek. Totally. I'm in my 50th year, so I've got a good 10 years on you watching Rangers. I saw us getting embarrassed in Europe. I saw us, the season after we beat Leeds United, we were in the first Champions League. We were 90 minutes, that game against Marseille, for getting into the final. The following season, we went out and we got embarrassed by Levski Sofia in the qualifying and never made the Champions League. The season after that, we got absolutely demolished by AEK Athens. I think it was 3-0 in Athens, and we drew 1-1 with them at Ibrox, and we never made the Champions League that season. And all I heard back then, I was like my late teens, early 20s, was you can have all the domination in Scotland as you want, but you'll never be able to say anything if you can't beat teams in Europe and do well in the Champions League. This was drilled into us at that point. You're nothing if you can't do anything, because Scottish football's shite and you're shite because you can't do anything in Europe. That was the typical call for your Celtic fans, your typical call from the guys like Hugh Keevins that we're still hearing about just now. That was what it. If you couldn't prove yourself in Europe, then that was it, because Scottish football's nothing. Basically, because we were winning it every single season, right? So I was desperate back then for European success, right? But now, because, as you quite rightly say, me and you have seen us win countless league titles. We've seen us win countless cups. We've been the dominant force in Scottish football. And Derek, maybe it is just my age, I still see us as the dominant force in Scottish football. And I know at this stage that we aren't, but that's just something that will always be in my mindset. I'll always see us as being the biggest and the best club in Scotland because of the success we've had in the past. But when I look, and I've brought this up briefly before, my son's going to be 19 this year, Derek, and I asked him not too long ago, who's the best Rangers player you've seen in all the time that you've watched Rangers? And his answer was James Tavernier. Now, that for me and you is quite staggering considering the players that we've seen, because when I was at his age, I had seen the likes of Ali McCoist, Mark Catley, Andy Gorham, Richard Gough, Terry Butcher, all of these legends of the clubs, but by that point of that. And that just comes down to the age and what happened to us, in 2012 and having to come back. He's only seen really one league win, really. I mean, because the time before he was really young. And the vast majority of the people that see it like that are all guys that are maybe under the age of 25, Derek, and they've really only seen us win 55, really, and they're hearing it for all the Celtic fans out there because they're dominant at the moment and winning the league constantly. But what I'll say to you right now, Derek, is if we had have won that Europa League in Seville, me and you and every other Rangers fan out there would still be talking about that in 30 odd years' time. We would still be talking about it, because to win a European trophy, it's legend status with the club, isn't it? Because everything would be compared to those players. Those players would be the greatest players of all time if they were win a European trophy. So, like you, I would take winning a European trophy over winning the league and being dominant in Scottish football. Like you say, it doesn't have to be one or the other. Of course, we want to be the main club in Scotland, but just to win that European trophy would be something that we would remember for the rest of our lives, other than us saying, we won the league in 2026. And we will remember 55 because of the circumstances and it being the first league since we came back, for everything that happened. But after that, these other league titles will be fantastic at the time, but we won't, as a support and a huge support, all be talking about that one European Cup victory that we won the league. Where were you the night that we won the Europa League and stuff like that? That's stuff of legends, Derek. And like you, I would take that any day over domestic success.
I mean, I wasn't having a go at the guy for that mindset. I just wanted to understand where it was coming from and where I was coming from. And he seemed to be having a go at me for wanting a wee bit more European success. So I just think that there are several aspects to European football. And, you know, I think we've proven we can hold our own in Europe. And if we keep that up, that's brilliant. That's what we want to see. And it's not out with the realms of possibility of us actually going on to another final, because we've seen how we can play at times. However, you've got to understand that the European football now needs to happen for the fact that it brings us money. Even if it's the Europa League, it's still bringing us money in. And then
a lot in,
well, yeah. Then it brings us as well a recognition. It then brings us a market to go and then buy players. Players see us doing well in Europe. They want to come to us and experience that as well. It then gives us a market to sell on players because, they're playing well in Europe. So it all has it's a multifaceted thing. And as I keep saying, we're not always going to do well in Europe. There are going to be seasons when we will inevitably fail in Europe, like the Champions League season we had a couple of years ago. That was a disaster. But when we can compete like that, we're not always going to get great seasons. So when we get it, then we certainly take it. Not at the expense of the league, but if we can compete on both sections, that's great. So I just wanted to go down that road with you there, Dave. But it's now time for Fessel Corner. Teacher here. Just discovered my 5:45 p.m. parents' evening appointment this Thursday is with a woman I had a one-night stand with from a dating app last year and then ghosted. Help.
Scary stuff.
I worked in an offie. A man came in and said he knew where I lived. I didn't recognise him. He said he lived next door. I said a bald bloke with glasses does, not you. I just bubbled his wife's affair without realising. They split up, sold and moved on. Eek.
I was wondering where you were going with that one there.
Civil servant here. I'm not quite sure why I'm always slightly uncomfortable in the knowledge that Excel is used in part to work out the nation's budget. Excel, the same tool I use to track and grade my wanks.
To grade them as well.
That's taking it a bit too far.
Dear. It really is.
My partner just told me I smelled nice. I hadn't had the heart to tell her that it was the air freshener lingering after my monstrous morning dump.
Oh, see, it's the toilet humour. I appreciate it, Derek. It's the toilet humour. Oh, it's a belter.
Started chatting to a woman on a dating app in the first few days of COVID lockdown. Met up a couple of days later and had sex in the car park. After a week of this, she started planning the rest of our lives together. So I pretended to have a COVID and faked my own death. As you do.
A bit extreme, but there you go. Circumstances, Derek.
I know I'm getting old because when the wife was out today, I seriously had to choose between having a big wank or going to the local model railway exhibition.
I wonder what one.
And to round it off this week, I was once caught short, so hastily ran into a nearby pub, bolted into a cubicle a few seconds too late as I explosively shat myself. A clean-up operation ensued, resulting in me throwing my boxers out the open window. I later found out there was a beer garden directly outside.
Again, the toilet humour does it for me, Derek, every time. There you go.
So, on that very smelly note, we will end the podcast.
Yep.
So So not the best of podcasts to cover this week with the games. Certainly a lot of stories as well, which we'll need to keep our eye on. If there's any updates, we will be getting a podcast out as soon as we can anyway. But we will see what happens in the coming days and weeks.
Yeah, definitely. As I say, before all this news broke today, Derek, I thought this is going to be a really depressing podcast. But, getting these wee rumours coming through certainly gives us a wee bit of hope. And we just have to hope that, there is something in it and it is going to be very positive for us.
It's better than transfer deadline day, Dave.
It certainly was this year anyway.
So on that note, all that's left to say is thanks for listening and goodbye.
Thanks, everyone, and God bless America. Goodbye.
And the stadium erupts in red, white and blue. You've never seen anything like it.
Let's go.